I'm going to share something with all of my friends from the Philippines, and for those from the United States who care to listen with wisdom and discernment. I was asked by a very close friend that I've had for years, why do you support President Duterte from the Philippines because he's being called a human rights violator? I responded by saying this: just because Amnesty International and the UN and the news media in Australia and certain other oligarch-driven machines say that a man is a human rights violator doesn't mean that the Western media narrative is true. Because once I told him about how the past administrations were not defending the police and how they were covering up the drug cartels and taking money as graft, once I explained that to him, and the fact that President Duterte was instituting rule of law, then he was like, oh, okay. So President Duterte is not a genocider. I said, no, he's not a human rights violator. He is a man of law, a man of compassion, a man of truth, a man of honesty. He's not bought with the price. He doesn't serve the oligarchs. And then my friend from America said, what's an oligarch? Joke! I don't think so. They don't have an idea. Most of my Filipino friends are so intelligent when it comes to human trafficking, the oligarchs, the world banking system. I commend you. I applaud. The average Filipino knows more about the truth and the world and reality than most people from the West. I thank you for standing. I thank you for helping me. I thank you for accepting me as a member of your family. We're winning. President Duterte is a true leader. Thank you.
The Philippines President-elect Rodrigo Duterte has vowed to snuff out social ills in his country and reinstate the death penalty to punish many crimes.
Trump of the East, a title previously held by a burnt wonton covered in scarecrow pubes. Now, Duterte has also suggested, if elected, he would kill 5 criminals every week.
President-elect in the Philippines, one who's been likened in some ways to Donald Trump for his style, on substance a little bit different.
Comes in the form of a 71-year-old mayor, Rodrigo Duterte.
God damn it.
At times, shockingly blunt-spoken. His earthy humour has struck a chord.
Philippines. Hi to you, Tom, and indeed let's go right away to one of the Filipino papers. It is the Philippine Daily Enquirer. Duterte, Rodrigo Duterte, a mayor of Davao, and the paper there on its front page saying he has vowed in his campaign to kill tens of thousands of criminals and end corruption.
Hardline anti-crime candidate Rodrigo Duterte has claimed victory in the Philippines presidential race. Nicknamed the Punisher, he has a controversial past, with allegations of involvement in extrajudicial killings during his time as mayor of Davao.
新任总统表示祝贺。
普通犯罪は警察が取り締まりますけれども、ダバオの場合には市長が、それとは別にその犯罪者を、殺害するその法的な手続きを取らない。
He said he'd end crime within 3 to 6 months of taking office, and his rhetoric remains defiant.
Manila, while Duterte has said his priorities are to lift up the large numbers of Filipinos in poverty and crack down on crime.
So to hear what militants think of Duterte's plan, we head for the countryside. While Davao lies in the heart of this conflict in Mindanao, the city's been an oasis of peace.
Welcome to the Advice Show, media with the common sense approach. So the Philippine president has been waging a war on drugs in his own country. Since he came to power, a lot of people have been killed in this war on drugs. So the UN and people in the U.S. want to start saying something to the president of the Philippines. Well, you will see a journalist tried to come in on his moral high horse from America to tell this president about what he's doing in his own country.
An alliance of leftist organizations in the Philippines. Mr. Reyes, welcome to the program. Now, if we can start with President Rodrigo Duterte, what he said about Barack Obama, apparently insulting his late mother. Could you explain what was actually meant here?
Yeah, I don't think he was actually insulting the late mother of the U.S. president. He was merely expressing what or how he would feel should the U.S. try to intervene in the Philippine policies or in its domestic policy. So it's something that is quite unheard of here in the Philippines, since we haven't had any Philippine president standing up to the United States. So it wasn't really an insult directed at Obama personally, but it was rather an expression of his opposition to any form of American intervention in the Philippines. This is something that I think the U.S. is also unprepared to deal with. That's why the meeting was probably canceled between Obama and Duterte.
Well, whatever differences of opinion the leaders may have, surely the Philippines wants to maintain a good relationship with the U.S. I mean, could you afford to lose such a partner?
Well, immediately the canceled meeting is no big deal as far as the Filipino people are concerned. And in the long run, the United States hasn't really been helping the Philippines. It hasn't helped us in any way in the claims in the West Philippine Sea against China. It hasn't helped improve or develop our own military capability. It hasn't helped improve our economy. So what are we really losing? Not much. We're not going to lose a lot of support or help from the United States. In fact, this will provide the Philippines an opportunity to stand on its own 2 feet. This will provide the Philippines an opportunity to assert sovereignty and to chart its own course independent of what the U.S. is trying to impose on us.
Now, in these recent comments from Duterte, he's been defending his crackdown on drug trade within the Philippines. But police say that 1,800 people have been killed in the war on drugs in the first 7 weeks since Mr. Duterte took office. Why is the number so high?
Well, it could be due to 2 things. It could be deaths related to actual police operations, some, of course, with questionable circumstances, and deaths related to the cleaning up, the house cleaning being done by the big drug syndicate. So these 2 possible suspects are, we think, responsible for the very high death toll that has resulted in the war on drugs. And we are opposed to any form of extrajudicial killings, summary executions, and we believe that this war on drugs will have to be done in accordance with the rule of law.
Do you think the drug crackdown in the Philippines is working?
Well, it has been recorded that around 700,000 suspected drug addicts have surrendered to the police, to the authorities. It has been recorded that some degree of crime has gone down over the past 2 months. But it's still disturbing to note that a lot of people are dying or being killed just because they are accused of being involved in the illegal drug trade. So these are issues that the Philippine president must resolve, but it should be done independent of any foreign intervention or any foreign dictate. And I think that's what the president was trying to say during his latest speech.
Do you think the use of Mr. Duterte's words and phrases when he speaks about world leaders and other world issues is going to isolate the Philippines?
Well, I don't think so. Here in the Philippines, when he was running for president, at first it came as a shock. People were not used to it, but I think people will learn to look beyond the foul language. People will learn to look beyond the harsh words and focus more on the substance and where he's really coming from and what policies he's trying to promote. And I think even some of the world leaders will probably get used to having a Philippine president who speaks his mind, who's not afraid to stand up to the superpowers. And yeah, that's something that I think we can all live with. And the more important thing to focus on is what will Duterte's foreign policy be and what his domestic policy will be. Those are the more substantial issues which we think should be the focus of media attention.
Okay, Mr. Reyes, thank you so much for speaking to us today. Mr. Renato Reyes, political activist and Secretary General of Bayan. Thank you.
Hello mga ka-DDS. I am with Miss Susan Ritzane, and she is a journalist from Sweden.
Yes.
Say hi, ma'am. Go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Susan Ritzane. I work for Swedish television in Stockholm, Sweden. That's in Northern Europe, where it's very cold right now.
Okay, Ma'am Susan, so could you please tell us why you are here in the Philippines right now?
Yes, me and my colleague, who is also a correspondent, we are based in Beijing, in China, normally, to cover large parts of Asia for Swedish television. And so we are covering the Philippines as our jobs. Especially interested in right now is stories about President DUTERTE, because I read a lot about him in the media, and from the headlines in the media I've read, I don't really understand, or those articles don't make me understand how come and in what way he is so loved in the Philippines. So we came here with that question because I'm curious and we really want to know what makes the Philippine people love President Duterte, who also gets a lot of criticism from international media and I suppose local media too. That's why I wanted to meet you, to be able to talk about how come you became so engaged in this man, and what you think about his vision for the Philippines and your dreams and hopes for this country. That would be really interesting for us.
Susan, thank you for coming to the Philippines to research and know more about our president and his supporters. But for the international media who are not here right now, can you tell us why do they have this negative impression of our president?
The media is very fast in picking up what they call what do we call it? We call it sound bites, like punchlines. So if a person says something, you have an interview with them for 10 minutes, you only choose 20 seconds. And which 20 seconds do you choose? Well, a lot of journalists would choose the juiciest part. And in Duterte's case, since he's very outspoken and makes a lot of jokes, I guess his 20 seconds would be something that might upset a lot of people. It's really difficult to get together all the different pieces with this. It's like a bit conflicting. You have, on the one hand, a people that loves its new president. And on the other hand, you get so much negative publicity. And how do you get these two different parts to become one? How can we understand this? How can we explain this? I'm here to try and understand what's going on. And I think you will be able to help me with some of that. Yes. Or I hope you will.
And so what can the Filipinos do, especially the supporters of Duterte? What can we do to tell the international media to get across our message that 91% of the Filipinos support President Duterte's war on drugs?
I think that what supporters of Duterte or anyone in the Philippines can do if they feel that they are misinterpreted or they are not being represented in foreign media, contact them. Because, I mean, just as easy as it is to contact local media, it's also easy to contact international media today. So use your platforms, use the communication means you've got, Facebook. And sure, it affects people. I mean, if I get 10 emails a day saying, I don't think you're fair against our president, or whatever you don't think we're fair about, for sure, I will answer.